girl Michelle with the Unapologetically Michelle Show. So guess what? We are hitting our new season here in November. I know we normally start our new season in January, but this year things are going a little bit different based off of what, the CEO of my business has said, God himself, we need to start in November. So I have some fabulous people that are up this season that are coming on the show. But to kick it off, we've got Ed and Angel with the Cooper Chronicles. And I'm going to tell you, I met them at a red carpet event. And have you ever had that experience where you meet somebody and you automatically click? No question about it. It's just something about them that clicks with you, and then you just start talking like you've been knowing each other forever. That's kind of what happened with us. And it wasn't just me. It happened with both of them. And so it was a great opportunity. So guess what? I'm going to stop talking and I'm going to let them introduce themselves. So Ed and Angel, why don't you introduce yourselves to our listening and viewing audience?
Hello, everyone. For those who may not know, hi, I am Ed.
I'm Angel.
And we're the Coopers. Listen, I like the intro that you did about family because, we're going to see who made the potato salad and everything else after,
Right. So how did you guys come up with the Cooper Chronicles? I'm interested.
Oh, but let me explain this. Okay, so how we formed the Cooper Chronicles is this. Yeah. People were always asking us, hey, what is it like being married, or anything about marriage they wanted to find out, what was going on. So we originally started, we was on a cruise. And we was talking about, like I told her I was going to jump in and save her if the shit went down, all this good stuff. So then we decided to go into, we started talking about, we're going to come on relationships. Then we're going to come online and we're going to speak to people. It's supposed to be one day.
Right.
But one day.
And from that, they were like, okay, so tell us what makes it work. And we started just talking. And as we were talking, we were like, we're going to chronicle this. And then we were like the Cooper Chronicles. It just kind of flowed. Yeah. And it went, now we are into year 6.
6 years.
Just talking about, the pressures, the trials, the triumphs, right, of relationships and raising a family. And so that's where it came up. That's how it came about. Our name, the Cooper Chronicles, just kind of sharing. Because I was very quiet and private, but
I am too.
Wait a minute. What? Wait a minute. Because nowhere in my meeting of the two of you did I come up with quiet.
You know what? It's too we're quiet to a point. But listen, we can turn it on when we have to. But sometimes you need that quiet time. Yeah. But we're really reserved. We're laid back. But you can see how we interact. You can see our personality. Everybody. I guess everybody see how I am.
Yeah.
I'm the funny one. Yeah.
Well, there always has to be a yin to a yang. So there's always got to be that mix. So in order for people to come to you, and I think when I talked to you that first time and I was learning about your podcast and the Cooper Chronicles, and there was one thing that my mother said to me when I asked her right before I got married. I said, what is one thing that you would share with me for me to take into married life? She said, don't ever start anything that you're not willing to continue doing.
Wow. Oh my goodness.
That's deep and profound.
I was like,
what do you mean? I know, but that is true. Goodness.
And I was like, okay, that wasn't what I was expecting. I mean, it turned out to be words of wisdom.
Yeah.
And so I asked her, I said, well, how did you and Dad stay married until he passed away?
Yeah.
And she said, she didn't say because I loved him so much and he loved me so much and, we were in this. No, she said because we both refused to leave. So we figured since we both refused to leave, we better figure out how to make it work.
I love that. I don't know. There's something about that too, that, don't start anything you're not willing to finish, and then you both refuse. That means they were committed.
Yes.
I was just thinking too, what would I say? And it's interesting because at one point, and we wrote a book about working at love, and love is worth the work. But every now and then, you see, like, you know, a love language, your love language may change. Right now, I would tell a person if they're looking for a relationship, what to do, like have understanding for each other. Because you're so like you know, he's my yin, I'm my yang, I'm the yang. You know, we're different. Respecting that difference to me and understanding that right now is where I'm at. I would tell somebody, you know, you're in there, you fell for him, she fell for you.
Well, I fell for you.
And I fell for you after, but understanding, right, his differences, I'm different from him. And I think understanding each other really is crucial. It is critical for me. Yeah.
Stick and stay as we take a brief commercial break. Are you sick and tired of feeling like you are not enough? Have you wasted precious time and energy trying to fix yourself instead of loving, accepting, and celebrating yourself? Couples, are you struggling in your relationship? Are you wishing there was a simpler way to achieve your dreams? Live intentionally while preserving your health, happiness, relationships, faith, finances, and environment? Well, wish no more. The Unapologetically Blacknificent Intentional Living Journal for men and women is designed for individuals and couples to work the activities individually or together while learning how to build a fulfilling relationship and life. Couples, this is your opportunity to build a rewarding, loving, and lasting relationship. Order your copy today and spend the next 31 days creating the blueprint to live a life full of love, achievements, and fulfillment at www.bloodsoulpublishing.com. Now back to our conversation.
Yeah.
Okay, wow. I wanna let the people get a little bit of background on you guys. So in order to talk about marriage, you know, you've got to have your credentials. So in order to be the Cooper Chronicles, giving people advice about married life and what that looks like, how long have you guys been married?
Matter of fact, we just celebrated our 30th year. Our 30th wedding anniversary.
Yeah.
If you go to our YouTube page, there'll be some videos of that wedding, some of the scenes from the wedding.
Yeah.
We both became certified life coaches.
Yes.
And believe it or not, we came from different backgrounds, different backgrounds. I retired from law enforcement.
Right.
Now, how does law enforcement and marriage, listen, that's a bad combination right there. But you know what? Through the grace of God, I was able to make it through and do what I needed to do.
Yeah.
So, certified life coach, law enforcement.
I retired from the school district. I was also certified, and we're authors and educated.
Can I show the book?
Yes, yes, sir. You can show it. Yes.
Listen, this is let me get back here. However, this is me. This is our first book, which is Love is Worth the Work.
Yes.
Matter of fact, it's an interactive book where we don't just put a book out there and then you got to read it. No, there's inside the book. There's places. I'm sorry, honey.
No, that's fine.
Where you can do some challenge yourself.
Right.
Not everything is going to work that we do is going to work for you. You tailor it to fit your own needs.
Yeah, and that I think is so important because not everybody wants. It is for singles too, because we talk about it's designed for marriages and individuals, and we ask questions like, how do you embrace and take charge over your current place in life, right?
Yeah.
Or what is your current situation, and write it down. Like as a creator of programs and educational programming, to me that was important that we get together and not just throw out. This is what you need to do. We ain't throwing
no mess out there and have it stick against the wall and see what's there and then we're going to use it.
No, like we wanted you all to really do the work. And whatever that looked like for you, then it's necessary for you to do that. You're not in the same place I was in, but we realized we needed to work on some things in our relationship. And so we put together the book, and it's been a blessing. It's been a blessing even for me and to others that have seen it.
Me too.
And read it,
I mess up, I gotta go back and read page 3 or whatever.
Well,
see, I can't.
You know what? Look, I'm here for it. Whatever works. So, question: as you are stepping into this realm and talking to individuals about marriage and relationships and what that looks like, what sent sent you along the lines to become certified life coaches? What created the avenue that took you down that road and you ended up becoming life coaches?
Yeah.
Well, I think what took us down the road is the fact. I'll put it this way. You know, when you're dealing with relationships, you're dealing with speaking with people, you got to realize these are lives and these are history that people have with each other. And you want to say the right thing. You can advise and say the right thing, but ultimately, you know, you want the people who you're speaking to make the decisions for themselves, not you make the decisions. You know, because one of the things I always say, like even when we have seminars and everything, if you've been married for 5 years, do not take advice from somebody who's been married for 2, because they have not gone through what you have gone through. And so when we became certified life coaches, we wanted to just enhance the abilities that we have in order to push it further, because, you know, it's all about helping people. And sometimes as men, I will get in trouble with this, but men are afraid to ask for help, or, you know, or they don't feel they should be vulnerable in certain situations. So, you know, with that extra little backing of certified life coach, where we can help guide, not give you a thing, but guide you, you know, it just enhances the ability of the relationship.
That was very well said.
Very well put there, Ed. Very well put.
That was good.
Well, I wrote it all down on my cheat notes. So.
As you go through being who you are, because I know when we talked, you said you guys had just come back from Italy.
Yes.
So what prompted Italy? Of all the other places in the world to go, why Italy?
Can I do this? Let me do it. All right, see, when we first got married, right? If you read in the book, it tells the story. I gave her 24 hours to let me know. I said, listen, I want to marry you. I give you 24 hours to let me know. So, you know, long story short, read the book. She said yes, you know, and so our first wedding, what was it? What do you call it? Honeymoon?
Yeah, honeymoon.
We took a walk along the boardwalk in Atlantic City. You know, we was young. I was in early 20s. So we took a walk along the boardwalk. And so I figured we need to walk a little further this year. You want to add to that?
Well, we did. We did a lot of walking, but it was one of the things we wanted to celebrate that moment.
Yes, a milestone.
And we were just talking about where we want to go, where do we want to go. And, you know, God had blessed us to be able to ask, you know, even question what we want to do and not limit to where we can go. And we wanted to not just kind of, we wanted to take it out of the box.
Right.
So we did the Mediterranean. We visited Rome for 3 days.
Right.
We walked. That's where the walking came in. The Colosseum, one of the 7 great wonders of the world, right? Walking the Colosseum, and then we ended up getting on a 8-day cruise, and we toured and went to one of the places for us was Ephesus.
And
wow!
Right, the Church of Ephesus,
where Apostle Paul journeyed in his ministry.
Yes.
So it was so. When I say it's gonna be on.
It's gonna be
on YouTube. We want you all to see that. We're gonna post that this week, so people can realize that life. Even when we had issues in our marriage, we would have never saw ourselves there in Italy in year 10, not in our marriage. But I'm glad that we endured the hardships and we were able to be in a position to travel and enjoy Rome, Italy, Greece,
Turkey, Istanbul.
It was just beautiful. Mykonos.
And the food was good.
Yeah, we love to eat.
I had 2 lobster tails.
One thing that I can say about us is that we do like good food.
Oh yeah,
we do.
We like good food. But that is awesome that you had an opportunity to go to Ephesus and be able to be in the place where it was one of the very first places that the Apostle Paul started a church.
Yes.
And so it begins to allow us to see that sometimes when we think that the United States is such a big place, it really isn't in comparison to all of the other great places that we have an opportunity to visit, if we will. So 30 years. That is 3 decades of life.
Yes.
That you two have witnessed each walkthrough.
Yeah.
Looking at where you are today, opposed to where you were, let's say year 3. Someone who is in that year 3, probably experiencing some of the things that you guys experienced.
Yeah.
What advice or what words of wisdom can you offer them to help them realize that it's just a moment in time and you can get past this if you do the work?
Yeah, you can say it.
The first thing I thought of was this too shall pass. When you're in the heat of the struggle, you really don't see nothing but the struggle. You're not, at a place to even see past your pain. And
Right.
for us, we had God, and we began to trust Him in that pain. We, if I didn't want to pray, maybe it was Ed that wanted to pray, right? And knowing that you give yourself that opportunity, you'll begin to evolve. You'll really see things. I reflect, like when I mentioned year 10, we may have been at 2 children then, and we were struggling. I was working and I was going to school. He was working probably in another academy, about to go into the, sheriff's department. And
Yeah.
maybe my son was at school and I'm bringing him, and all I can see is what was in front of me. I didn't see 30 years. I
Right.
didn't begin to imagine 30 years. Are you kidding me? But when I really started to like ask God for help in that moment, I was able to calm my nerves and trust that one day it's not going to remain the same, and we're going to be okay. And so give yourself that grace to see yourself evolve from that young woman into the woman that you'll become, right?
Yes. And I think one thing you should mention also, like thinking back, reflecting, if you're having issues or if you're having concerns with each other, we came up with, did at a seminar where you got to create a safe place in your home. A safe place meaning it could be a room, a room somewhere where both you can sit down there and you attack the issue and not the individual.
Wow.
You attack the issue and not the individual. If it gets heated, if your conversation get a little heated, if one has to get up and walk away, hey, listen, I'm going out here. I got to get a breather, but I'm coming back in for round 2 or whatever you want to call it. But you come back and keep people out of your business. Don't put your stuff on Facebook.
Right.
There was no Facebook when we was around.
And even now, I'm not going to tell everybody I'm mad at my husband. I'm going to take that to prayer. And I think a lot of people, should. I don't believe we pray enough for our spouses. I know I didn't at one point. I learned, let me not bring this to even my sisters right now or my mama. I need to bring it to Jesus, because once I forgive them, they still would be mad.
Yeah.
And so we learned that, and we would, if we needed help, we ended up, realizing certain things we needed to go to therapy with him being in law enforcement and me being at home and in ministry. We still needed assistance, but we didn't go and, like I said, telling everybody, because it's really, really between you two,
right?
And God helping you through that. Yeah.
So,
I don't know.
Yeah. No, that's good.
I cut you off.
That was really good. I want to go back to something that you guys said, because I think that it's important. Number one, not bringing everyone into your relationship.
Yeah.
Making sure that you talk to each other, not at each other or about each other.
Mm.
And then the other thing, having that safe space to be able to come and to attack the issue and not each other. I think so many times we forget. The Word of God says that we fight not against flesh and blood, but against principalities and powers.
Right.
So I think sometimes we forget that an individual may be the representation of the issue, but they were not the creator of the issue. So you need to attack the issue,
right,
and learn how to love beyond it.
Yeah. That is so true.
What is one of the things that you, Ed, I'm going to talk to you. What is one of the things that you learned about Angel that helped you better understand understand how to love her?
She's honest. She's real honest. And listen, if she put up with me, listen, man. But I'll say this. She's honest. She's sincere. She has a heart for God, but also the love that she displayed towards me. There was an instance where, my whole family became lifesavers, truly saved lives. And the pressure and amount, but my wife was there. You understand? And people don't realize the impact. I tell people all the time, the impact. She's also a minister. And for, when people heard her prayer, during that instant, people heard her prayer. And you're talking 30 people, men and women crying. That shows me the impact that my wife has, and I love her for that. Listen, God will step in. She will call on God in a minute, and he will step in and he will handle the situation. And when I seen people, I'm talking 30 people, men and women crying. Listen, come on, man. She ain't going nowhere.
Yeah.
You are hilarious, Ed. Okay, same question, Angel.
So he got me all, what? That was good. What's the question again, Michelle?
Okay, so what is one thing about Ed, just one thing that you can talk to about Ed that is one of the reasons why you fell in love with him?
Oh.
My height?
That's for me to answer. He's got a true heart. He really has a true heart to love, right? And not just because, physical or anything, but his heart, he's got a good heart. Like he was, before he retired from the sheriff's department, he was one of the most, and he's just mentioned his height. He may look so, intimidating, but his heart is so pure when it comes
I
to.
I couldn't show that at the job.
I know that, but his heart for understanding and loving his family, like his mother, loving his siblings, loving me, or just trying to, in his heart to help, he'll do whatever he can.
And so understanding that, so I'm gonna pull the curtain back. We're gonna pull the curtain back, and we're gonna do some unapologetic real talk. Okay.
Yeah.
Understanding now, Ed is an attractive man. He was in law enforcement. He's a godly man, and Angel, as well as I do, godly men are attractive to saved and unsaved.
Right, Michelle.
Women, okay?
Yes.
And men. So let's put that out there.
Right.
So for that woman who has an Ed in her life that is coming up against all of these entities that are hell-bent on making Ed their only, how can you help them navigate that space without them losing sight of the important thing? And that's the relationship and being focused on each other.
You said
Can we both get to work answer this one?
Yeah, we can. All right.
Okay.
You wanted both of us to respond?
You both can.
Well, I'm going to say what you said, a word that I had been talking about for so long because, and then I wrote a book about it, being focused and reminding yourself that you're favored, you're focused, and you're fierce. And I had to repeat that for myself because, yes, there were women, even if they knew I was the wife, they still was, it was relentless on their end. But I knew who I was. I had to remind myself of who I was when I was feeling like, oh, please, no. I know who I am. I know who he is to me. And I think as women, we forget and think because it didn't happen right away, and you might still be waiting for your king, and you're looking and you say, am I worth it? Am I enough? And that's one of the things I talked about in that book, a book of affirmations, to remind yourself you are more than enough. You are highly favored. You are favored. You are focused. And honey, you are fierce. I think reminding as a woman, knowing who you are to your mate, or just knowing who you are, waiting for your mate to come is so important, because you can get lost in, I don't have that. I didn't have the cruise until 30 years later. There might be somebody that had it year 5, and I was like, how come I ain't got that yet? In time and in your in between and in your waiting process, just trust and know that God hasn't forgotten about what you pray for and what you want and what you're looking for and what you deserve. Because when we realize what we deserve, you won't settle. And I just want to encourage somebody, don't settle, and don't, I always remind myself, but I also have to tell, even tell those other women and tell my husband, I know that I got to remember this. And so y'all don't forget that your favorite focus and your fierce.
And listen, I would say for the men out there, listen, if you come up with a situation like that, the Lord gave you your wife as a helpmate. She's going to help you. My wife will drop knowledge, listen, this is what women look for. Listen, watch out for this. Listen, watch out for that. Because a guy's not going to think about that. He's not. I'm just going to tell the guy. I'll probably get hate mail, but that's okay. The guy's not going to think about that. Be true to your wife. Listen to what she says, because there's something that's going to help you. Something that's going to help you, because, listen, not everybody's happy about your relationships all the time.
No.
Right.
There's some people that want to tear it down. We did a thing on like a foundation of a house. You got a strong foundation. Right. You get a crack, you get a leak in there, it starts to erode your foundation. No, patch that up, fix your foundation, and get stronger.
I think that that's so very important and key, because I've seen it happen. I'm a minister as well. So in leadership within the church, I've seen both sides of it. I've seen how, I've seen with my own eyes how women will saddle up to the man of God and totally ignore his mate, because they're wanting that individual for themselves. And it has always bothered me, for lack of a more sexy word, it has bothered me because in some cases I've seen the man waver and give in because they're making him feel youthful or desired or wanted or whatever he feels like he's not getting at home, whatever that looks like. The challenge sometimes, and I know as a divorced woman myself, when you are put in the position where his eye is wandering or he gets caught by somebody else's web, it impacts the woman in a way that makes her question every aspect of who she is. And in that, I know for myself, I had to stop and take stock of Michelle. I had to stop and begin to work on those areas in my life that presented themselves in that moment. That was like, you never dealt with this. Hey, I'm over here. You need to work with this, and began to go through that. I am not a proponent of jumping from one relationship to another. I'm not a proponent of that. I believe that unless you deal with whatever the hurt was and whatever corresponding damage that the hurt did, that trauma, then what you're going to do is it becomes something that you put in a suitcase and you carry into the next relationship. And then whatever that person does that resembles what that person did, you're out. Right. They don't get another chance, because now you are holding them accountable for all of the sins of the previous relationship because you never healed. So I said all of that to ask this question. When you encounter those individuals that come into a relationship with baggage that has not healed from prior trauma and hurt, how do you help them learn how to trust themselves and then trust their mate?
Can I go first?
Yeah, you go. I got something.
It's important to acknowledge that pain, number one, because if it's trauma there, it needs to be dealt with. And it's like you're going from one side of the muddy river to the other side, but you're carrying that luggage. So be willing to acknowledge that, number one, and then be willing to unpack what that trauma may have caused to you, to your mate, to your family.
Right.
And then willing to do the deep work. That's deep work. That's not going to be something that'll be, maybe it'll take longer. Maybe it'll take a month. Maybe it'll take 3 months. Maybe it'll take a year. But when you're willing to understand that you want to get to the other side, you're gonna have to deal with what's in front of you. I think we often want to negate that and bury that and put that to the side and say, I'm just gonna move forward. But as you're moving forward, you're gonna still encounter the same thing. So be willing to unpack, willing to acknowledge, willing to do the deep work. It really helps.
Wow, that's good. And it's true. And you have to, I like what my wife said about Angel. She said about doing the deep work. And you have to be open to hear what's going on. You have to be open. That's when that mindset of, okay, I'm gonna listen to what's being said. All right, now I'm analyzing what's being said. All right, now let's see, what can we do to fix this thing and make it right. You want to make it right. Not everything is peaches and cream. I used to tell some people in a relationship, but you want to make it right. You got to think, what is more important to you? What is more important to you? Is it going out there, getting a cheap thing, or is the real gem that's right next to you? Why get the invitation if you got the real thing right next to you?
Wow.
Which has more, which is more value. Because if this gem values herself and other things are worthless, listen, you got to go with what's going to, let's use a car, for example. They say as soon as you drive it off the lot, it's 60% depreciation right off the bat.
Exactly.
But you can't, you're not going to drive your relationship off the lot. Yeah, you may have had an accident, but you know what? Fix your accident, get your car value back up, and get back in the fight. You have to do that.
Yeah.
That's really good advice. When you guys are on your show, the Cooper Chronicles, when you are just given the wisdom, because I'm telling you, you guys, it's effortless. It just oozes out of you.
Thank you.
It's one of those things to where sometimes I think people are afraid to ask you stuff because they think that you've never gone through anything.
Right.
Because of where you are now.
Right.
And the happiness that you have in your relationship now shows. So for those individuals that are coming on 10 years of marriage, 15 years of marriage, they've escaped the 5-year,
yeah, 5 years.
Last 5 years.
Right. They say.
You good.
Right.
If you last 10 years, you're really good.
Right.
If you get to 20 years, you might as well stay because ain't nothing else that's going to be out there for you. But even in that, how is it that your children view your relationship?
Oh man, we have been.
I have a son and 2 daughters.
And they are on. They haven't been on the show recently because of their schedules,
right.
And they're much older. But they have participated in a lot of our shows, and they're very transparent. We actually did a seminar a couple of months ago where we did the introduction, and our daughters took and spoke to the entire audience to share with the parents.
A younger generation, because we could be fixing us, we're a little old. I could be long in the tooth, as they say, a little old. But they were giving an account of young people today on what they go through. Because it's not the same. It may be the same thing what we went through, but it's more enhanced now.
Right.
It's more bolder now. So, they did an awesome job.
And they talked about from their perspective and how we were sitting there. And we knew that they were going to take that moment, at least 20 minutes to talk. We gave that to them.
Right.
And to hear them talk about how we gave them a a chance to be themselves. And it said one son and two daughters, and they're about, my son is 5 years older than the second, and the second one is 3 years. There's 3 years gap in between. And they said this, we're so grateful that we let them speak and be themselves. Right. And they were able to, with boundaries, because right. I'm still mom and he's still dad, they were still able to share, and they all went through their differences, but learning that if you open the door, listen, because my mom and dad showed me that, and they stayed married till 43 years until my dad passed. But we were able to come to a place where, and they believe God, they're in ministry, not as heavily as we used to be, but they believe, they sing, they worship, but they understand that God is our anchor. And they respected the fact that even in our issues, we talked about it. So we told them they could talk to us. Yeah. One of the most moving things we heard from our children when we renewed our vows, they said, we are so grateful that we were born into this family. I lost it because I didn't think I was a great parent, but I knew that praying and asking God to say, well, let me hear what they may be experiencing. That blew my mind. Yes. But I think as parents, as people, we need to hear our young people. I worked out of high school, so I maybe understood that. My mother was an educator. My dad was a counselor. So we understood that. But our children see that, and they, I believe, are getting stronger because we work through what we are being faced with.
And they see it firsthand. It's not something that's hidden away or anything. They see who we are. They see how we work, how we operate. Yeah. Because if people look back at the beginning of our relationship, it was as if we never even seen each other. Because I used to work, what was it?
Oh my gosh.
I worked 3 to 11, and my wife would work 7 to 3. Yeah. And I worked at a prison. Then I get forced over, so I work 11 to 7. Then she come in, that we would miss each other.
Yeah,
10 years of that.
It was like 2 ships crossing in the night. So we had to figure this thing out, figure out how to make this relationship work. I'm bringing my son to basketball. He doesn't know what's happening. So we had to give an update at 11 midnight. Yeah, 11 o'clock midnight. We talking about how to make it work and be willing to, reconnect. Right.
Stick and stay as we take a brief commercial break.
I'm Angel, and we're the Coopers.
Listen, I know you have not seen us for a while. A lot has been going on, and boy, we're going to start posting and let you know what's been going on.
Yeah, we're excited to be back.
Yes, we are back.
And we want to be able to share some things with you, our family, as to what we've been experiencing. And it's good to take some time for you
to rejuvenate,
to reset
and restart. Yeah. And it's just so many. Listen, there's so many things that was going on, but listen, they're good things. Yeah. Okay, they're good things. But we have something that we want to invite you guys to join in us with. Yeah. And it's about falling in love. And so now we want to fall back in love. Yeah. Now this is the fall season.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. This is the fall.
This is the fall season, so we're going to do some falling with you guys. Yeah. Okay.
And so we're going to do this for about 4 weeks straight. Yes. Fall back in love, and this is just, like we said, not
just for a married couple, but also for singles, for family. Yeah. Listen, even for a community and ministry also. Yeah. We want to just stress that. So listen, let's fall back in love this fall, okay?
Yeah, I love that. I think that's such a cool thing that God gave to us, because what we realize is back to that reset, repurposing, revisiting, restoring. Right. You've got to understand what it was that brought you to that place in the first place, right?
Well, that is so true.
Right?
But listen,
we talk about that in our book. We want to encourage you for the next 4 weeks, 4 Thursdays at 7 p.m. Tune in to the Ed and Angel Cooper Chronicles page, and we're going to show you
how to fall back in love.
And it's either with your marriage,
it's with your family,
your singleness,
or even in ministry. Yeah. Fall back in love. Listen, we have to go, but we will see you guys on Thursdays, 7 p.m.
Now back to our conversation. Last question that I want to be able to throw out there to you guys. Okay. So you have gotten through 30 years of marriage. You're headed for year 31. And what's next?
Wow.
What's next?
Yeah.
Wow. Let's see. I would say another book.
Yeah.
A documentary.
Yeah.
On the experience, which is called the life-saving experience.
Yeah.
And just want people to see who we really are. Someone looked at our picture of us and they said, "Wow, you guys look like a reality show." So really, you know, come live the life with the Coopers. You know, you see what it's really like.
Yeah.
But I think
I think
wow.
that's next. That's a good
question.
That's spot on. I know we want that story to be told.
Yes.
You know, we gave, you know, a workbook out, but we really want people to know that life-saving experience. That pretty much is why we started the Cooper Chronicles. And we want people to know that challenges we will face.
Big challenges.
We will be doing, again, we've been doing what they call a 28-day love challenge. In February, if it's 28 days or if it's a leap year, it'll be 29. But we'll be doing that and we'll share that because we realize challenges are in relationships. So we want to challenge ourselves to, you know, become better and greater, whether it's to get the strategies and tips to know what to do in those challenges.
Right.
What we're doing now in this season is fall. So we're falling in love with what matters. And it's funny you mentioned family.
Listen, about first, you know, we turned away from our first love. Right.
Abandoning, you know, one of the things we talked about when we went to Ephesus was understanding that journey that Apostle Paul went through. And he told Ephesus, in essence, you know, you abandoned your first love. And sometimes we need to be reminded of what that looks like. And so for the next 4 weeks, actually, we're in week 3, we'll be talking about marriages, but we talked about families and we talked about how to reconnect. And, you know, each season, God really gives to us some certain things to really be, you know, transparent and help people in relationships and families and individuals that are trying to know what this love thing is about, because love is not just an emotional word. It's being patient, even with yourself.
Yes.
Even with yourself, being kind and what that looks like. So what's next is the document. We're working on some things, hoping the doors will swing open. I know it will. But we really just want to encourage.
Give us a synopsis of what it was about, really. I just brushed. I didn't put you on a spot like that. I just brushed over it.
Yeah.
But it was something like it's a sign to let people know. Listen, you can get through anything. Yeah. Anything happen in your family, you can get through anything. Right. You know, this is where a young lady, you know, somebody lost their life, and I had to jump into a situation.
Yeah, and as he was handling the situation, all of the whole family ended up having to be present. I had to call 911, and one of the things I mentioned at the top of this, you know, conversation was that as I called 911. It ended up going to trial because the man ended up attacking this person. But as I was on the phone with 911, as he's an unarmed, not in uniform as an officer, I let that be made known. But I also was praying for the woman that was in my presence. And that was
when I
mentioned that 30 people in the case before the trial heard this, and everyone was just in shock to hear that there was a Bible believer that was praying to God, asking for help, and the woman ended up surviving. But I also ended up helping to protect. I ended up helping protect my husband as he was, you know, pointing the gun at the assailant. And, you know, of course, an unarmed
black guy with a gun
pointing it at a white male. It's very suspicious. And normally they attack the black male instead of the white counterpart. But it was a very interesting story, but an experience that's where the Cooper Chronicles came from. And that's a documentary that someone is very interested in doing, and we want that to be in the book. So we'll talk more about that. Our children, we're working on another seminar for the couples and individuals. We do a lot of prayer. Let's Pray Global Network will be launching. We've been praying with Let's Pray Wednesday. We have the brotherhood praying and the women praying. We have over 12 women there praying, and over.
Yeah, we have 5 gentlemen right now. We're going to add more. We're going to have a meeting.
So that's what we're doing. We just really want to encourage people to know that in relationships, in life, God he's not going to leave us if we stick with him and we can make it through.
That's it.
Wow, that was awesome. I have thoroughly enjoyed talking to you both. And
Thank you.
Ed,
Thank you.
you are hilarious. Yes, you are. You are
Thank
hilarious.
you.
Yes, you are. If anyone wants to get in touch with you, how would they reach either of you or both of you?
Yes. So right now they can connect with us at Ed and Angel, the CooperChronicles.com. That's our website. And in that website, there's an area where they can email us, and we would correspond that way. If you're interested in coaching, we do offer one-on-one, or we do group sessions. We'll be doing and offering a Black Friday deal for the year of 2023. And follow us on all social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram.
Just Google the Cooper Chronicles, Ed and Angel Cooper Chronicles, you'll see us.
Yes. And then get a book. And let that, if you don't want to get one for you, get it for your relative, get it for someone, maybe a coworker. And that is Love is Worth the Work. You can get it at Amazon.
Yep, Amazon.com. You can also get it at other retailers. And you also want to have Favorite, Focus, and Fears, which is right here. This is my baby. It's a book of affirmation, 50 days of, affirmation. She wrote it for the women.
And, we realized also that journals are really important. So we have a journal. I love journaling. I love to write what it is. Maybe it's a prayer and maybe you want God to answer. So write it out and then put a check mark by it. And you can go back and say, wow, God really answered that. Or maybe I'm still waiting for that. But it's a journal you can get from Amazon, Favorite, Focus, and Fears.
Most definitely.
But that's what the Cooper Chronicles are about: empowering and encouraging and inspiring people.